Hello and welcome. This is Chad Jackson with the Aberdeen Group, Vice President and Group Director over a number of research areas here at Aberdeen. I first wanted to, in this keynote, this kickoff, to thank the organizers of the event for inviting me to present. This is a really great opportunity. I'm really excited to be here and to be able to present some of our research that we've done in this area and share some of our findings with other executives out there. Before we get started, I also wanted to talk a little bit about this research, provide a little bit of background. So what we've seen in the apparel and footwear space specifically is that because the schedules are so tight and because the margins are so thin, that there's kind of a unique, almost integration across functional roles in this industry, across design, sourcing, production, and also supply collaboration, that there's some unique processes and organizational roles and technologies that have been adopted. So we've conducted this research to really go in and take a look at that. So this presentation will be looking at the findings of that study that we conducted. So overall, if you look at what we're going to talk about today, we're going to give you a little bit of background on the overview of the study. But after that, it's really important for me to talk through what is the methodology that we used. It's critical to understanding some of how the presentation, how the findings are presented in terms of analysis. After that, we're going to take a look at what were the key drivers for change here. You know, we're looking at basically design through delivery. And we want to, part of the study, we want to understand, well, what's really instigating the change. And then after that, we're going to dive into some of the practices exhibited by top performers. And that's another thing that we looked at, and I'll explain that a little bit more here in a minute. But what were the things that top performers were doing that really differentiated their performance? Because those are the things that you want to mirror or follow, and we'll go from there. So let's talk about the overview. So I talked a little bit about why we initiated this study, especially designed to deliver processes, because they seem to be so integrated within this industry, or so interconnected, so interrelated, whatever adjective you want to use, but how tightly they're wound together and how interrelated they are. We primarily use surveys for this study. As a matter of fact, you can see we have over 70 respondents overall from apparel and footwear companies. And that gives us the statistical evidence and findings that we use for this study, but we also follow that up with a number of interviews to provide some anecdotal evidence to kind of shed more light on exactly what the findings mean. And we conducted this study over a few months. In the middle of this year, we published the study in August. From a demographics perspective, you can see that we had pretty good representation from different geographies around the world, primarily North America, but also Asia Pacific. A lot of outsourcing obviously going on there. Company size, you can see we hit a range of those under 50 million and over $1 billion and everywhere in between. And also the industries, pure apparel companies, retail, wholesalers, and then other categories. Now, what we need to cover next is the Aberdeen methodology. Give you a little bit of insight into how we conducted the analysis of the responses for this study. So let's dive into that. The first thing that we should talk about is the PACE framework. So this framework we created within Aberdeen. It's the standard, one of the two standard methodologies that we use for all of our benchmarking studies. Really links top-level business drivers all the way down